Hi everybody, I'm Tiffany and today I'm going to teach you how to hand embroider. So to start, I'm going to show you what you can use the stitch for. So here I have two different wall hangings, and what I did was I used a tailor's chalk to mark my line to follow. And if you don't have tailor's chalk, you can just use a regular pencil because the embroidery floss is so thick that it's going to cover up your marking anyway. So here I did the vines on the pumpkins, and on this one I used it as the string on the kites. And then on this wall hanging, I used the solid embroidery floss to do the antlers on my reindeer, as well as I did the little runners on Santa's sleigh. And then I also used it to kind of make a 3D line so that my boxes of presents would look more 3D. And then, so this is our regular solid embroidery floss that I used. And then when I did the reins, I wanted kind of a more artistic effect so that the light coming off the moon would kind of be changing. So I bought variegated embroidery floss so that the thread, it kind of changes from a darker yellow to a lighter yellow depending on how the light touches it. So there's lots of different options. Now I'm going to show you how to do the stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do the stitch, and I'm using just a scrap piece of white fabric because I wanted the stitching to be dark so that you would be able to see it better. So you're going to unravel as much as you need from this skein, depending on what you're doing. And then also, the skein is made up of 6 little pieces of string, but using 6 is going to make it too thick, so we need to split it in half. So I have 3 of them right here to use later, and then the other 3 I already have threaded in my needle. And I only put a knot in one end of it, so the other end is up here, so that as the string gets shorter, then I can adjust it as I need to. And then if you're doing a big project and this one runs out, then you already have your next piece cut and ready to go. So I'm not doing anything specific because I just want to show you the basic idea of how to do the stitch. So you're going to put your needle coming from the back of the fabric, because this is the pretty side of the fabric and this is the ugly side of it, and you're going to pull it straight through, and the knot's going to stop your embroidery floss from coming through. And then because I'm right-handed, I'm going to be working my stitch from the left to the right. And the important thing is to remember that you don't want to make your stitches very big, because the bigger your stitches are, the looser your embroidery will be. But if you pull your stitches really tight, then your fabric is going to be pulled in as well, so you don't want it to be too tight either. So when I pull my thread through, always keep this thumb holding on to this edge of it because it helps it from getting knotted up. And then when you go to start your next stitch, pull this thread down into the left and put your left thumb on top, and then you're going to put your needle down about 1/8 of an inch in front of where your other stitch ended. So here's where my stitch ended, and then here's where I'm going to start, and then you're going to push your needle up so that the point of the needle touches the fabric right in front of where the other stitch ended. And then you're going to push your needle through, and then you're going to pull, and then you're going to get a stitch. And then again, bring this down to the left, and then go 1/8 of an inch in front of where you were before, and then come up right in front of where you finished last time, and then you're going to pull it through again. And then as your chain of stitches gets longer, it almost looks like a little braiding effect because your stitches come down on a bit of an angle, which is what you're going for. So I'm just going to carry on and do a couple more stitches. And it takes a lot of practice, so the first few times that you do it, just do it free-handedly without a line on just a scrap, and save your pieces too, because then you'll be able to look back and see how much your stitching improved. Okay, so this is my little line, and see how if I touch this, my stitches move a little bit, but they're not so loose that there's like loops of it anywhere. And if I tug on it, it's not going to come out. So let's say that I got to the end of where I needed to be. I'm going to put my needle down at the end of my last stitch right here, and I'm going to push it through the back of my fabric and flip it over and pull my needle straight through the back. Now if you look at the back, you should have pretty even stitches in length. So see how all of mine are pretty even? That's what you want. And then if you turn it this way, you're going to put your needle underneath the last stitch that you just did, and then you're going to pull that through, and then just before your little loop goes away, just slip your needle underneath of it and pull it through like that, and that's going to give you your knot. If you want, you can do another one, but this isn't really that important, so I don't need to make sure that my knot's that strong. And then leave a little bit of a tail and just cut it off, and then that's your stitch. So if you wanted to do something with curves, just chalk it first, and it's really just the same as doing your straight line. And I wish everybody luck with their hand embroidery.